Jeffrey Preston Bezos, born on January 12, 1964 in Albuquerque, New Mexico, was not born into wealth, but he was born into a mindset of curiosity and ambition. From a very young age, Bezos displayed a fascination with science, engineering, and how things worked. Family stories recall that as a child, he once dismantled his crib with a screwdriver because he wanted a proper bed. His mother, Jacqueline, was a teenager when she gave birth to him, and his father left early in his life. Later, his stepfather, Miguel Bezos, a Cuban immigrant, adopted him and became a strong influence on his upbringing. This blend of independence, resilience, and curiosity would shape Jeff's path toward building something the world had never seen before, the spark of innovation. In school, Bezos excelled academically. He showed a deep interest in computers and space exploration. His love for technology and innovation grew stronger when he attended Princeton University, where he studied computer science and electrical engineering. After graduation in 1986, Bezos entered the financial world, working at firms like Patel and Bankers Trust, before landing a job at the hedge fund D. Shaw and Company. At D. E. Shaw, Bezos quickly rose to the position of senior vice president. There, he worked closely with David E. Shaw himself, focusing on computer models that analyzed stock markets. But it wasn't just finance that caught his eye. Bezos became fascinated with the explosive growth of the Internet. In the early 1990s, the Internet was growing at an astonishing rate of more than 2,000% annually. While most people saw it as a tool for academics or niche communities, Bezos saw a gold mine, the birth of an idea. Bezos began compiling a list of possible online business opportunities. He looked at products that could be sold online more efficiently than in traditional brick-and-mortar stores. His list included items like software, CDs, and books. Books stood out for several reasons. There was already a massive catalog of published works, but no physical store could ever carry them all. By moving this catalog online, Bezos realized he could create something revolutionary. In 1994, Bezos made a decision that would change his life and the world forever. He quit his high-paying Wall Street job, despite the protests of his boss and colleagues. He famously said that he wanted to follow his regret minimization framework. In other words, he wanted to make decisions in life that would minimize future regrets. Quitting to chase the internet revolution was one of those decisions. The garage startup, Jeff and his then-wife Mackenzie, packed up and moved to Seattle, Washington. There, Bezos set up shop in the garage of their rented home. He hired a handful of employees and began building what would soon become Amazon. The company was initially called Cadaver Incorporated, but Bezos quickly changed the name after a lawyer misheard it as Cadaver. Searching through a dictionary, Bezos settled on Amazon because it was the name of the world's largest river. He wanted his company to reflect the same sense of scale and ambition. In those early days, the garage was filled with desks made from doors laid across 2x4s. The team worked tirelessly to code the website, set up systems for inventory, and establish partnerships with book distributors. Bezos was obsessive about customer experience, insisting that the website had to be fast, simple, and reliable. The first order. On July 16, 1995, Amazon officially opened its virtual doors as an online bookstore. The first book ever sold on Amazon was Fluid Concepts and Creative Analogies, Computer Models of the Fundamental Mechanisms of Thought by Douglas Hofstadter. This moment, simple as it may seem, was historic. It marked the beginning of e-commerce as we know it. At first, orders were slow, trickling in from early internet adopters. But word of mouth spread quickly, and within weeks Amazon was shipping books to customers in all 50 states and 45 different countries. Bezos' dream was working. The small startup was transforming into something much bigger. Early challenges. The beginning wasn't without struggles. There were issues with packaging, delays with suppliers, and the chaos of scaling a tiny team to meet growing demand. But Bezos was relentless. He encouraged his employees to embrace the chaos, famously reminding them, "It's always day one." This philosophy meant that Amazon should never feel like a mature company. It should always innovate, always move fast, and always think like a startup. By the end of 1996, Amazon had grown far beyond anyone's expectations. What started as a garage experiment with a few employees had turned into a company generating millions in revenue. Investors began to take notice, and Bezos was ready to take Amazon to the next stage, going public. By 1997, Amazon was no longer just a quirky startup in a Seattle garage. The company had grown at an extraordinary pace, fueled by the rising popularity of the internet and Bezos' relentless vision. Within 2 years of its launch, Amazon had sold books to hundreds of thousands of customers across the world. That same year, Bezos made a bold move. He decided to take Amazon public. The company filed for an initial public offering, IPO, on May 15, 1997. Shares were priced at $18 each, and on the first day of trading, the stock jumped to $23.50 before closing at $23.25. Amazon raised $54 million through the IPO, money that would be critical to fueling its growth. The IPO was a turning point. It put Amazon on the radar of Wall Street and the broader business world. Many investors, however, were skeptical. At the time, Amazon had yet to turn a profit, and its business model, selling books online with razor-thin margins, seemed risky. Critics dismissed it as just another internet fad, predicting that it would collapse within a few years. But Bezos was unfazed. He told shareholders from the beginning that Amazon's strategy was not about short-term profits, but about long-term market dominance. In his first letter to shareholders, he wrote, "It's all about the long term. We will make bold rather than timid investment decisions. We will focus relentlessly on our customers. We will continue to measure our programs and the effectiveness of our investments analytically, and we will make course corrections when we see that we are off track. We will work hard to spend wisely and maintain our lean culture. We understand the importance of continually reinforcing a cost-conscious culture, particularly in a business incurring net losses. This long-term philosophy, though controversial at the time, will become the foundation of Amazon's empire, expanding beyond books. With the fresh capital from the IPO, Amazon began to expand beyond books. In 1998, it added music and DVDs to its catalog. Soon after, it launched categories like electronics, toys, and video games. Bezos envisioned Amazon as an everything store, a place where customers could find and buy anything they needed online. This expansion was not without its challenges. Distribution centers had to grow rapidly to keep up with the increasing product range. Amazon invested heavily in warehouses, logistics, and software infrastructure. Many investors worried that the company was spending too aggressively, but Bezos insisted that Amazon needed to build for the future. The dot-com boom. Amazon's expansion coincided with the broader dot-com boom of the late 1990s. The stock market was flooded with internet startups, and investors were pouring billions into companies that often had no profits, and in some cases, no revenue at all. The NASDAQ index soared, and internet companies became the darlings of Wall Street. Amazon stock reflected this frenzy. By late 1999, shares had skyrocketed from their IPO price of $18 to over $100. The company was valued at billions of dollars, making Bezos one of the richest people in the world almost overnight. But with great hype came great risk. The boom was unsustainable, and many companies were burning through cash without building real businesses. The crash of 2000. In March 2000, the bubble burst. The dot-com crash wiped out trillions of dollars in market value. Dozens of internet startups collapsed, and even giants like Yahoo and eBay saw their stock prices plummet. Amazon was hit hard. Its stock price tumbled from a high of $113 in 1999 to as low as $6 by 2001. Analysts were ruthless. Barron's famously ran a cover story titled Amazon Bomb, predicting that the company would run out of cash within a year. The pressure was immense. Amazon was losing hundreds of millions of dollars annually, and the very survival of the company was in doubt. Surviving the storm. Bezos, however, refused to panic. While many dot-com CEOs panicked, cut corners, or abandoned ship, Bezos doubled down on his long-term vision. He reassured employees and investors that Amazon was not just another internet bubble company. It was building real infrastructure, real customer loyalty, and a real business model. Amazon undertook several critical moves to survive. Cost-cutting and efficiency. Bezos slashed unnecessary spending and pushed for operational efficiency. Warehouses were optimized and logistics were streamlined. Customer focus. Even in crisis, Bezos reminded his team that the customer came first. While other companies cut back on service, Amazon invested in improving the shopping experience, ensuring customers remain loyal. New revenue streams. Amazon launched its third-party seller marketplace in 2000, allowing independent sellers to list products alongside Amazon's inventory. This move not only expanded Amazon's product catalog, but also reduced inventory risk. These bold decisions paid off. By 2001, Amazon reported its first profitable quarter, earning $5 million on revenues of over $1 billion. It was a small profit, but symbolically, it proved that the company's model worked. Lessons from the crash. The dot-com crash was a defining moment for Amazon. It separated the survivors from the pretenders. While countless startups vanished, Amazon emerged stronger, leaner, and more focused. Bezos' refusal to bow to short-term pressures cemented his reputation as a visionary leader. Most importantly, the crash forced Amazon to innovate. The third-party marketplace, born during the crisis, would later become one of its most profitable ventures. The experience also instilled a culture of resilience within the company, an understanding that setbacks were temporary, but the mission was permanent. By the early 2000s, Amazon had weathered the storm of the dot-com crash. While countless internet companies disappeared into history, Amazon stood tall, battered but alive. The company had proven that it could generate real profits, even if modest. But for Bezos, survival was not enough. His vision for Amazon was to build the world's most customer-centric company, and that meant innovating relentlessly. The 2000s became the decade that transformed Amazon from an ambitious online bookstore into a global powerhouse. Through bold experiments and groundbreaking initiatives, Amazon would create entirely new industries, reshape consumer expectations, and position itself for dominance in the decades to come. The birth of Amazon Prime. In 2005, Amazon introduced one of the most significant innovations in its history, Amazon Prime. For $79 a year, customers could receive unlimited 2-day shipping on millions of items. At the time, the idea seemed risky, even reckless. Shipping was expensive, and Amazon was already operating on thin margins. Many analysts thought it would be a financial disaster. But Bezos understood something fundamental. Customers hated waiting, and they hated paying for shipping even more. Prime wasn't just about logistics. It was about psychology. By offering free, fast shipping, Amazon created loyalty like never before. Customers who subscribed to Prime suddenly began buying more, and buying more often. Over time, Prime became more than a shipping program. Amazon added streaming video, music, ebooks, and exclusive deals, turning it into a full-fledged ecosystem. Prime changed the game. It transformed casual shoppers into lifelong Amazon customers, and it set a new standard for e-commerce. Competitors struggled to keep up, and many were forced to rethink their strategies. The Kindle revolution. Amazon had always been deeply connected to books, but in 2007, it revolutionized reading itself with the launch of the Amazon Kindle. The Kindle was a sleek, portable e-reader that allowed customers to store thousands of books on a single device. More importantly, it gave readers the ability to purchase and download books instantly from the Amazon store. No shipping, no waiting, just click, buy, and read. Publishers were initially skeptical, fearing that digital books might cannibalize print sales. But customers loved it. The Kindle democratized reading, made books more accessible, and cemented Amazon's dominance in the publishing world. Bezos described the Kindle not just as a device, but as a service. The goal was not to sell hardware for profit, but to encourage people to buy more digital books. This philosophy, selling devices at low margins to drive sales of digital content, would later inspire Amazon's approach to products like the Fire Tablet and Echo smart speakers. The birth of Amazon Web Services, AWS. While Prime and Kindle grab headlines, Amazon was quietly working on something even more revolutionary, something that would ultimately become its most profitable business, Amazon Web Services, AWS. In the early 2000s, Amazon's internal engineers faced a challenge. The company's growing operations required massive computing infrastructure. Instead of building custom systems for each new project, they developed a set of standardized, scalable tools. Bezos and his team realized that if Amazon needed this kind of infrastructure, other companies probably did too. In 2006, Amazon launched AWS, offering cloud computing services like storage, computing power, and databases to businesses of all sizes. At first, it seemed like a niche service. Few people outside the tech world fully understood its potential. But as startups and enterprises alike began moving online, AWS became indispensable. The beauty of AWS was its scalability. A small startup could rent a few servers for a few dollars, while a massive corporation could run entire global operations in the cloud. This pay-as-you-go model eliminated the need for businesses to buy expensive hardware and maintain their own data centers. Over time, AWS became the backbone of the internet. Companies like Netflix, Airbnb, and even government agencies relied on it. By the end of the 2010s, AWS was generating billions in revenue and, more importantly, billions in profit, far more than Amazon's retail business. Customer obsession, innovation, and risk. The 2000s were defined by Bezos' willingness to take risks and embrace failure. Not every Amazon experiment succeeded. The Fire Phone, launched in 2014, was a spectacular flop, but Bezos didn't care. He believed that if Amazon wasn't failing, it wasn't innovating enough. This philosophy created a culture of experimentation at Amazon. Employees were encouraged to think big, test ideas, and learn quickly. Some ideas would fail, but the ones that succeeded, like Prime, Kindle, and AWS, would change industries forever, cementing Amazon's identity. By the end of the 2000s, Amazon had transformed. It was no longer just an online store. It was a logistics giant, a digital media company, a hardware innovator, and a cloud computing powerhouse. Revenue soared from $3 billion in 2001 to over $24 billion in 2009. Bezos, once dismissed as a dreamer, was now recognized as one of the most visionary leaders of his generation. But Bezos was not satisfied. He saw Amazon not as a finished company, but as a work in progress. His mantra, "It's always day one," continued to drive Amazon's culture. Day one meant urgency, experimentation, and the belief that the company's greatest achievements were still ahead. By the dawn of the 2010s, Amazon was no longer just an American success story. It was rapidly becoming a global phenomenon. The company had expanded operations into countries like the United Kingdom, Germany, France, Japan, India, and beyond. Each new market came with unique challenges, different regulations, local competitors, and cultural shopping habits. But Amazon's formula of low prices, fast delivery, and customer obsession proved adaptable almost everywhere. Global expansion was not just about sales. It was about logistics. Amazon invested heavily in fulfillment centers, data centers, and local infrastructure. The company also built relationships with local delivery partners, sometimes creating entirely new networks where none existed. This global reach gave Amazon an edge few companies could match. The rise of Alexa and the smart home revolution. In 2014, Amazon introduced a product that would change the way people interacted with technology. The Amazon Echo, powered by the voice assistant Alexa. At first, people didn't know what to make of it. A speaker you could talk to? It sounded futuristic, even unnecessary. But Bezos had a vision. He believed that voice would become the next major computing interface, just as a keyboard and touchscreen had been before. Alexa could answer questions, play music, set timers, and control smart home devices. Over time, Amazon opened the platform to third-party developers, creating a vast ecosystem of skills that allowed Alexa to do everything from ordering pizza to controlling lights. Echo devices became wildly popular, selling tens of millions of units. Suddenly, Amazon wasn't just a retailer or a cloud company. It was a player in consumer electronics and artificial intelligence. Alexa became a household name, literally sitting in kitchens and living rooms around the world. More importantly, Alexa became a subtle sales channel. With a simple voice command, customers could reorder products from Amazon. This reinforced customer loyalty and made Amazon even harder to escape. the Whole Foods acquisition. In 2017, Amazon shocked the business world by acquiring Whole Foods Market for $13.7 billion. It was Amazon's largest acquisition at the time and marked its most significant move into physical retail. The deal gave Amazon instant access to hundreds of grocery stores across the United States, as well as a respected brand in the high-end grocery market. But Bezos wasn't interested in just selling organic produce. He wanted to revolutionize grocery shopping. Amazon integrated Whole Foods into its Prime ecosystem, offering discounts for Prime members and using the stores as hubs for grocery delivery. It also experimented with cashierless technology through its Amazon Go concept stores, pushing the boundaries of what retail could look like. This move signaled that Amazon's ambitions went far beyond e-commerce. The company wanted to dominate not just online shopping, but every aspect of retail. E-commerce domination. Throughout the 2010s, Amazon tightened its grip on e-commerce. In the United States, it became the default shopping destination for millions of people. Studies showed that more product searches began on Amazon than on Google, a stunning shift in consumer behavior. Amazon's marketplace model, where third-party sellers list products alongside Amazon's own inventory, exploded in popularity. By the end of the decade, more than half of all products sold on Amazon came from independent sellers. This allowed Amazon to expand its catalog infinitely without bearing the cost of holding all the inventory itself. But Amazon didn't just dominate online shopping. It set new standards for logistics. With investments in robotics, drones, and delivery networks, Amazon shortened delivery times from days to hours. Programs like Prime Now and same-day delivery made waiting for packages feel like a relic of the past. Competitors struggled to keep up. Walmart, Target, and countless smaller retailers poured billions into their own online operations, but Amazon's head start and scale gave it an almost insurmountable advantage. The cloud giant. While the retail side of Amazon captured headlines, AWS quietly became the crown jewel of the company. By the mid-2010s, AWS was generating billions in profit each year, often subsidizing the razor-thin margins of the retail business. AWS wasn't just a service. It was the infrastructure behind the modern internet. Streaming platforms, startups, Fortune 500 companies, and even government agencies relied on Amazon's cloud. This dominance made Amazon not just a retailer, but a critical player in global technology, embedding Amazon into daily life. By the end of the 2010s, Amazon was everywhere. You used Amazon to shop. You read books on a Kindle. You asked Alexa for the weather. You watched shows on Amazon Prime Video. Your favorite apps probably ran on AWS. You might even buy groceries at Whole Foods with your Prime discount. Amazon wasn't just a company. It was an ecosystem woven into the fabric of everyday life. For millions of people, the convenience of Amazon made it indispensable. Critics warned about monopolistic power, worker conditions, and the impact on small businesses, but customers kept clicking by now. Jeff Bezos, the visionary CEO. During this period, Jeff Bezos became one of the most famous CEOs in the world. Known for his bald head, sharp laugh, and relentless focus, he became a symbol of innovation and disruption. By 2017, he surpassed Bill Gates to become the richest person in the world. Bezos often emphasized that Amazon's success came from its willingness to think long-term and to obsess over customers. While investors obsessed over quarterly earnings, Bezos focused on the next decade. His shareholder letters became required reading in business schools, filled with lessons on risk-taking, experimentation, and resilience. By the mid-2010s, Amazon had conquered e-commerce, revolutionized cloud computing, and entered the smart home with Alexa. But Bezos wanted more. He wanted Amazon to shape culture itself. In 2011, Amazon launched Amazon Prime Video, initially as a perk for Prime members. At first, it offered a modest selection of movies and TV shows, competing with Netflix and Hulu. But Bezos had big ambitions. He believed that content would drive subscriptions, and subscriptions would drive loyalty. Amazon began investing billions in original programming. Shows like Transparent, The Man in the High Castle, and later The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel won critical acclaim, even earning Emmy Awards and Golden Globes. The message was clear. Amazon wasn't just dabbling in entertainment. It was here to stay. By the late 2010s, Prime Video became a global platform, available in more than 200 countries. Amazon signed deals with filmmakers, sports leagues, and production companies. In 2021, Amazon struck a historic deal to acquire MGM Studios for $8.5 billion, adding classics like James Bond to its library. Prime Video wasn't just about TV shows and movies. It was about creating another reason for customers to stay in the Amazon ecosystem. Every binge-watch series meant one more reason to keep that Prime subscription active. Twitch, owning the future of live streaming. In 2014, Amazon made a surprising move by acquiring Twitch, the live streaming platform popular with gamers, for $970 million. At the time, many wondered why Amazon would spend nearly $1 billion on a site dominated by people broadcasting themselves playing video games. But Bezos once again saw the future before others did. Twitch wasn't just about gaming. It was about community, live interaction, and the power of digital audiences. Over time, Twitch grew into a cultural phenomenon, with millions of users watching everything from esports tournaments to music performances and even political debates. Twitch gave Amazon a foothold in a new generation of consumers, young, digital-first audiences who were less interested in traditional TV and more engaged with interactive entertainment. It also provided opportunities to integrate with Amazon services, from Prime subscriptions to game sales. Betting on artificial intelligence. Alexa was only the beginning. Amazon invested heavily in artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning, using these technologies across its businesses. Personalization. Amazon's recommendation engine. Customers who bought this also bought. Became legendary for driving sales. Behind it was sophisticated AI that learned customer behavior at massive scale. Logistics. Robots in warehouses, predictive algorithms for inventory, and route optimization for deliveries all relied on AI. AWS. Amazon offered AI and machine learning tools through AWS, enabling other businesses to build their own intelligent applications. Bezos often said that AI was one of the big bets that would define Amazon's future. Whether through voice, data, or automation, Amazon wanted to be at the forefront of the AI revolution, the dark side of growth. But as Amazon's power grew, so did the criticism. 1. Worker treatment. Amazon warehouses, the backbone of its empire, came under fire for harsh working conditions. Reports surfaced of employees working long hours with little rest, timed bathroom breaks, and grueling productivity quotas. Critics accused Amazon of prioritizing efficiency over humanity. 2. Market power and antitrust. Amazon's dominance raised questions about monopolistic practices. Small businesses complained that Amazon copied popular products, undercut their prices, and leveraged its platform to crush competition. Governments around the world began investigating Amazon for antitrust violations. 3. Tax controversies. Despite billions in profits, Amazon was frequently criticized for paying little to no federal taxes in the United States. Politicians and activists argued that Amazon exploited loopholes while benefiting from infrastructure funded by taxpayers. 4. Privacy concerns. With Alexa listening in homes and AWS hosting sensitive data, privacy advocates raise alarms. Could Amazon be trusted with so much information about consumers and businesses alike? The balancing act. Bezos, known for his calm demeanor, rarely let the criticism rattle him publicly. He argued that Amazon's growth was a result of giving customers what they wanted: lower prices, faster shipping, and more choices. Still, the pressure mounted. Employees protested. Lawmakers threatened regulation. Journalists investigated relentlessly. The public began to ask whether Amazon was too big, too powerful, and too invasive. Yet, despite the controversies, Amazon's momentum didn't slow. Customers kept shopping. Prime memberships kept growing. AWS kept printing profits. In many ways, Amazon had become too convenient to quit. Bezos' philosophy in the spotlight. Throughout this period, Bezos continued to emphasize his long-term vision. He famously said, "Your margin is my opportunity." This ruthless approach meant Amazon would enter industries, cut prices, and disrupt incumbents until it dominated. To investors, Bezos remained clear. Short-term profits were not the priority. Market leadership, customer loyalty, and innovation were. The controversies were real, but the growth was undeniable. On February 2nd, 2021, Jeff Bezos dropped the bombshell. After nearly 3 decades of running Amazon, he announced he would step down as CEO. The news rippled across Wall Street, Silicon Valley, and the world. Bezos, the man who built Amazon from a garage into a trillion-dollar titan, was leaving the driver's seat. But this wasn't retirement. Bezos wasn't disappearing into obscurity or sailing off permanently on his super yacht. Instead, he would transition to the role of executive chairman of Amazon's board of directors. His replacement as CEO, Andy Jassy, the mastermind behind Amazon Web Services, AWS. The message was clear. Amazon's future will be powered by the cloud. Andy Jassy takes the helm. Andy Jassy wasn't a household name, but inside Amazon he was a legend. He had joined the company in 1997 and built AWS from scratch into the world's leading cloud provider. Under his leadership, AWS grew into a $60+ billion a year business with profit margins that dwarf retail. By choosing Jassy, Bezos signaled that Amazon's future wasn't just about packages arriving at your door. It was about owning the backbone of the internet. AWS was Amazon's crown jewel, funding the rest of the empire. Jassy faced enormous pressure. Could he maintain Amazon's relentless innovation while addressing growing criticism about its size, power, and treatment of workers? Bezos' new focus: space, philanthropy, and big ideas. As executive chairman, Bezos had more time to focus on his other passions. Blue Origin, his space company, competing with Elon Musk's SpaceX, aimed to build rockets, colonize space, and ensure humanity's survival beyond Earth. Bezos described it as the most important work of his life. Philanthropy. Through the Bezos Earth Fund and Day One Fund, he pledged billions toward fighting climate change and supporting education. The Washington Post. Bezos continued to own and influence the iconic newspaper, which had transformed into a digital powerhouse under his leadership. While Bezos stepped back from the daily grind of running Amazon, his influence remained everywhere. Challenges in the 2020s. Amazon entered the 2020s as one of the most powerful companies on Earth, but the decade brought new challenges. 1. The pandemic boom and bust. COVID-19 supercharged Amazon's growth. With millions stuck at home, online shopping skyrocketed. Amazon hired hundreds of thousands of workers and expanded logistics at breakneck speed. But when the world reopened, growth slowed. Costs rose. Warehouses that once seemed essential became expensive burdens. Investors questioned whether Amazon had overextended itself. 2. Inflation and rising costs. The global economy in the early 2020s faced inflation, supply chain chaos, and rising labor costs. Amazon, known for low prices, now had to balance profitability with affordability. 3. Political and regulatory heat. Governments worldwide turned up the pressure. Antitrust lawsuits accused Amazon of crushing small businesses. Labor unions pushed for better pay and conditions. Privacy concerns about Alexa and data collection grew louder. Amazon was no longer just an innovative company. It was a symbol of corporate power, and that made a target for competition on all fronts. Retail, Walmart, Target, and others strengthened their e-commerce. Cloud. Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud gained ground against AWS. Streaming, Netflix, Disney+, and Apple TV+ fought Prime Video for eyeballs. Logistics. Rivals developed faster delivery models, challenging Amazon's dominance. The empire Bezos built was being challenged from every direction. Innovation never stops. Despite the challenges, Amazon kept innovating. AI and machine learning. Amazon integrated AI across retail, logistics, and AWS, positioning itself as a leader in the AI revolution. Healthcare. With Amazon Pharmacy and the acquisition of One Medical, Amazon entered the trillion-dollar healthcare industry. Robotics and automation. Warehouses became more automated, with robots and drones moving closer to mainstream delivery. Sustainability. Amazon pledged to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2040, investing heavily in renewable energy and electric delivery fleets. The company refused to sit still. Every new technology wave became a battlefield, and Amazon wanted in. Bezos' legacy and Amazon's future. Even after stepping down, Bezos remained the face of Amazon. To many, he symbolized relentless ambition, futuristic vision, and even ruthless business practices. His legacy? He built the most customer-obsessed company on Earth. He transformed retail, cloud computing, entertainment, and logistics. He made Amazon a company so powerful that governments feared it, employees protested it, and competitors dreaded it. But Bezos' story was no longer just about Amazon. It was about the future of humanity, on Earth and beyond. As Andy Jassy steered Amazon to the turbulence of the 2020s, Bezos looked to the stars. His empire on Earth was secure. His eyes were fixed on space. When historians look back at the late 20th and early 21st century, Jeff Bezos' name will stand tall among the great builders of industry. He didn't just create an online bookstore. He redefined how the world shops, works, reads, watches, and even thinks about the future. Bezos' legacy rests on a few timeless principles. Customer obsession. More than profits or competition, Amazon's compass was always the customer. This obsession became the foundation of its culture and success. Long-term thinking. While Wall Street chased quarterly profits, Bezos thought in decades. His willingness to endure short-term pain for long-term gain made Amazon unique. Relentless innovation. From AWS to Alexa, from Prime to Kindle, Amazon constantly disrupted itself before others could. High standards. Bezos demanded excellence, often to an extreme. His mantra, good intentions don't work. Mechanisms do. These weren't just business strategies. They were philosophies that shaped Amazon into an empire. Amazon's global impact. Amazon changed the world in ways that are impossible to ignore. E-commerce revolution. Shopping became digital first. From groceries to electronics, Amazon made buying online the norm. Cloud computing. AWS quietly powers much of the modern internet, enabling startups, governments, and even Netflix to run at scale. Publishing and media. Kindle reshaped reading. Prime Video became a global entertainment force. Twitch defined live streaming. Logistics, 2-day and even 1-day. Shipping reset consumer expectations forever. But there's a darker side, too. Critics argue Amazon contributed to the decline of small businesses, exploited workers, and gained too much control over global markets. The company became both admired and feared, a symbol of progress and corporate power. The human side of Bezos. Beyond business, Bezos' personal transformation fascinated the public. The shy, nerdy founder evolved into the world's richest man, appearing at galas, dating celebrities, and commanding headlines with his Blue Origin space launches. His famous quote captures his mindset. We are the lucky ones. We get to build the future. For Bezos, Amazon was just the beginning. His real mission, he claimed, was to move humanity into space so Earth could be preserved as a garden. Whether visionary or hubristic, it showed the scale of his ambition. The lessons from Amazon's story. The journey of Amazon is more than a business tale. It's a masterclass in vision, resilience, and disruption. Key lessons include: start small, think big. Amazon began with books but always envisioned the everything store. Iterate relentlessly. Every failure, like the Fire Phone, was a stepping stone to innovation, like Alexa. Leverage technology. Amazon wasn't just a retailer. It was a tech company that used data, AI, and cloud to dominate. Adapt or die. From the dot-com crash to the pandemic, survival came from flexibility and reinvention. The future of Amazon. Where does Amazon go from here? A few frontiers loom. Artificial intelligence, integrating AI deeper into AWS Alexa and retail. Healthcare, using its scale and data to transform how people access medicine. Global expansion, growing in markets like India, Africa, and Latin America. Sustainability, becoming a leader in clean energy and green logistics. Space synergy, perhaps one day, connecting Bezos' space vision with Amazon's global infrastructure. Amazon is no longer just a company. It's a platform, a utility, a part of everyday life. Its next chapter will define how we live, work, and dream. From a scrappy startup in a garage to a trillion-dollar colossus, Amazon's journey is the story of modern capitalism itself. It is a tale of vision, risk, triumph, controversy, and reinvention. And at the heart of it all stands Jeff Bezos, the boy who loved books, the man who loved space, and the entrepreneur who taught the world that no ambition is too big. Amazon's story isn't over. In many ways, it's just beginning. The empire Bezos built will continue to shape the future, one order, one innovation, and one bold idea at a time.